Good morning, everybody. Dr. Anita here from Mylon Family Chiropractic Center, and you're riding in the car with the Chiro. So today's topic might be a bit controversial, but it's all over the news, and I felt like I should talk about it as a doctor. So weed is legal, and they opened up that lovely dispensary up in, I think it's Bloomfield, New Jersey, and the line was out the door early in the morning. And while it's acceptable in the state of New Jersey, federally, it's not legal. So all transactions are cash. And you think, well, this is great. Is it great to have a dispensary that has inflated the costs? They're only doing cash. So who's monitoring that cash business? We all know those that have had predominantly cash businesses have been able to not pay a lot in taxes because of cash transactions. So we are still supporting those people. And I wonder how you feel about people around you driving a car wasted, stoned. How do you feel if you're a business owner having your employees show up wasted? I personally am not okay with it. How do you feel about your kids getting access to marijuana and them justifying it? Well, it's legal, I can do it, as their brains are developing. Or they're using it because they don't really know how to cope with life, so this just numbs them out so that they don't have to cope. Or worse yet, people with mental illness are using it, and it exacerbates the mental illness issues. And when you go to the dispensary, it's way more expensive. It is not a small business by any means. The wealthy are the only ones who could get access to a license to sell. So they saw the writing on the wall. And so the wealthy were the ones who could go in and get those licenses. So it's not a small business entrepreneur world where a nice vet who came back from wherever in war and wants to start a business to support his family and needs it for his PTSD. I'm not anti-marijuana for things like that, for cancer treatment when people are on chemo or people with multiple sclerosis. But I'm certainly against the legalization of it for every Tom, Dick, and Harry and every teenager who's justified using weed and smoking weed because it's legal, yet they can't concentrate in school, or every Tom, Dick, and Harry who doesn't hold down a job, yet it's interesting that they have cash to go and line up at the dispensary to get their weed fill. That's more important than being mentally alert. I'm not okay with that. I'm not hiring somebody who's using marijuana when they come to work. Now, what you do in your private time, just like alcohol, is your business when you're an adult. Absolutely. I have nothing to say about it. But if it rolls over and you're still drunk when you show up to my office to work with me, you're out. If you show up and you're high, you're not handling anything in my office. You're out. Call it discriminatory. I don't care. It's not okay. But my biggest concern is not the adults making a choice as adults. My biggest concern is, what is this effect, chemical effect, on the brain and the nervous system? I get when you're in pain, you want to decrease pain, and it's way better than opiates because we've got an opioid addiction that still runs rampant in our society, thanks to the medical profession always throwing pills at you when you're in pain. I'm okay with it in temporary, but I don't think it should be a lifestyle. I have no problem with people using what they need to do to get through the night. I'd rather them use that than take a drug that's prescribed that has a whole ton of side effects. But the bottom line is, when your body's talking to you, your body's talking to you for a reason. Pain is a signal to you to be careful, to pay attention. I get when you're in pain that you don't want to feel it. But as a doctor, I also get that the value of that signal is so that you don't do stupid things and hurt yourself further. It's a protective mechanism. It's the body's way of saying, whoa, stop, hold on, chill out, right? When we dull or eliminate that signal, we hurt ourselves worse. Let's go back into the 80s when the football players would injure their knees. They'd go off on the sidelines. They'd shoot them up with steroids so that they could decrease the temporary inflammation and put them back on the field. And by 30 years old, these football players had knee replacements. Well, knee replacements last 10 years, maybe 15 years today. So how many replacements are they going to have? Major surgery in their lifetime. That's a concern. It's a concern to me that this stuff is so legal that children can justify using and they can drive a car. So you're learning to drive a car at 16, 17 years old, and you're allowed to be high too. Are you kidding me? Add to that the cell phones, and they're talking and tweeting and chatting and Snapchatting, whatever these kids are doing today, and they're dulling their senses when they need them to learn how to drive. You're dulling your senses when you need them to protect yourself so you don't injure yourself further. Now, at the end of the day, if you can't rest and you need support in that way, I'd rather you do that. CBD oils, CBD rubs, CBD creams work great if you get a good quality, preferably organic. But I'm not a fan of this legalization of marijuana for everybody. I am a fan for doctors allowing patients to use it for serious medical conditions. And there's a multitude of medical conditions that I don't have enough time to talk about that you should be allowed to use it. As an adult or a parent of a child going through chemo, absolutely. But it should not, in my opinion, be able to go to the local dispensary and everybody can buy it and they're going to drive home smoking their dope. I'm not okay with that because I have to drive on the road with you. So that's my thought on the legalization of marijuana. This is Dr. Anita with Mylon Family Chiropractic Center. You've been riding in the car with the Chiro right here in Bayville, New Jersey. See you on the next ride.